Maybe the police have locked off that road as it goes into the tunnel. You see the police are in pursuit now as they're heading into a tunnel. We also saw before a person who seemed to not know what was going on crossing the road literally seconds as that car was coming around.
Came within metres of a pedestrian crossing that intersection.
So really dangerous driving here as we're seeing it speeding through again at high speeds coming out.
You can see in this shot the state of that vehicle too. It is well and truly banged up, isn't it? So it's been on quite the ride for the last hour or so.
Traffic intersection here. We'll have to see what's going on, but the police are, keeping their distance, but also trying to keep on this driver.
Well, this becomes the difficult juggling act for the police, doesn't it? Like you're staying away to avoid a potential crash, but at the same time staying on their tail. I've had a look at some close-up shots of the vehicle earlier. It looks like there could be someone in the passenger seat as well, so there could be more than one person in this car at the moment. That is also a concern for police. So. The problem is you're moving into areas in Sydney where we're potentially going into tunnels. You could go into a shopping centre. This becomes the next issue for officers. It's find a wall in the area.
Here we go. This is a pretty built-up set of traffic lights. The next manoeuvre.
Oh my goodness, they are having no concern getting through this.
Found a way out of there. Almost into that maroon vehicle.
We're relieved to say at the moment it doesn't appear to have hit anyone in other cars while we're watching it, but that is not from want of trying.
Clearly hit something.
It certainly has.
In the moments beforehand. Make no mistake, they're following this on radio at the moment in Sydney as well. Obviously police and the entire newsroom watching this to try and get as much information as they possibly can for you as we go to air.
Seven Hills onto the wrong side of the road, going into oncoming traffic again and out again. Heading towards Borkham Hills now, so we're getting into a more suburban area off the sort of wide and open freeways or motorways that it had been travelling on. So this is going to become more dangerous.
There's a car that's coming right up now.
Yeah, and just be aware if you're in this area right now. This person is showing no regard for the safety of other people. So do be aware that this is playing out in the Borkham Hills area right now. A vehicle crossing onto the wrong side of the road.
One-lane traffic as well.
Over and over.
So Borkham Hills, if you're moving into that suburban area, they've got a couple of ways that they could go. They could go out towards Blacktown.
Oncoming traffic again, wrong side of the road again, Davina.
Feeding north up into Hornsby, possibly. They could turn back into that way or go straight out towards Penrith. So the problem with this area, while it is heavily built up as a suburban area, it feeds into a number of different paths to get back onto freeways, to get out of Sydney and to make an escape from police.
Look at this populated area. This is really dangerous.
This vehicle now is metres from driveways, from people's homes.
Schools,
straight past another car and weaving through a bus. So there are an incredible number of dangers and hazards around at this point as we get into a more built-up part of suburban Borkham Hills in the Hills district of Sydney.
That was very close to that truck then. This is really alarming for all the other drivers on the road as it passes a bus flying through that that roundabout there.
And as Davina points out too, it's such a delicate balance for police officers at a time like this to give them enough room to not force an accident that puts people at harm.
So they slowed down there remarkably because it was a school zone. You can see how close police have managed to creep up onto them.
Now in northwest Sydney, it's approaching Castle Hill now. So you can see that the ground that this car is covering shows you how fast the driver of this vehicle, we think there's another passenger in the vehicle, is travelled. And the police, obviously, we've seen cars pull over as well, so the police obviously have their sirens on to warn people of this traffic. But, it's still an accident could potentially and frighteningly happen at any time.
DC, you're talking about the distance that they've travelled from southwest Sydney to northwest Sydney. It is impossible to make it through that space of distance in the space of about half an hour, and that's exactly what...
Look, there's a pedestrian right there. This is getting really dangerous.
So this is a very busy intersection in Castle Hill. Absolutely ignoring the road rules, clearly putting other drivers at risk. Windsor Road, heading towards Parramatta now.
Hitting the bus lane.
Exactly, hitting the bus lane, crossing barriers in the street, crossing onto the wrong side of the road. As we said before, no regard for the safety of others around them.
The police have backed off a little bit again, obviously trying to make sure that no one gets hurt and to keep up pursuit.
The problem is in northwest Sydney as well, because there's not a lot of public transport infrastructure. The roads are busy at the best of times around that Castle Hill area. So this is a whole new kettle of fish for the police.
So it's hearing that this pursuit began in southwest Sydney after some sort of crash event. Oh my goodness. They are really driving dangerously now.
We're looking about an hour ago. It started around in Bankstown. So to make that distance at that speed gives you an indication of how dangerous the driving and how erratic it's been.
My goodness, this is really...
I mean, we can't stress enough that if you are in this area, please be aware that this is happening, because this person is driving so dangerously, and we do fear, of course, that this is not going to end well with the erratic nature of this driving. Wrong side of the road. Look at this.
This is heart in the throat stuff for people watching at home. We do understand how stressful this can be, and we hope that no accident occurs while we're giving you this live vision.
And we have to point out now, I can't see any of the police vehicles in frame at the moment. I'm not sure where they are in relation to this vehicle that's being pursued, but they're far enough away to not be in shot for us.
Knowing
this is
though
a more built-up section here.
Once again, they are not doing anything to
avoiding
stop
that traffic and carrying on.
Pol Air would be watching this from the air as well, so that's a good indication of how police are keeping a track on this while not endangering lives.
They can't do anything to bring it to an end, though, from the sky, can they, at this point?
But a call-out would go to every single unit on the ground in that area.
But it's moving so fast, Davina, how they catch him and how they keep up with this person, we assume it's him in the car, in the driver's seat, is extraordinary.
So North Parramatta now we're entering. This is still Windsor Road. On the right side of the road at this point, which is something to be thankful for, but still travelling at an incredible pace.
Pushing through intersections
clearly
so
well above the
fast.
speed limit.
And it's that shot when you look quite closely. There appears
definitely
to
a
be
passenger.
Yeah, someone in the passenger seat of the vehicle.
Yes.
That clearly is a person there.
That is somebody. We don't know if they're distressed or not, if they're against their will there, but this is really, really kicking off.
Or entering a 40 zone there and clearly not adhering to that. Veering off here now, so we'll
Hold on, they are turning left into the
see
street.
what the next move is. And bear with us, as Davina mentioned, this is all unfolding live. These are live shots from the helicopter, so we're gathering as much information as we can on the fly. North Rocks Road now in North Parramatta.
You can see how badly banged up that vehicle is in the front. That was what's caused this chase to begin with, is some sort of accident with this vehicle.
The car, we understand, has Queensland number plates as well. 2 people inside that vehicle. We don't know, of course, if the vehicle belongs to them, but this did start in Bankstown in southwest Sydney around about, an hour ago, Davina, and has obviously covered a lot of territory in that time, now heading into North Parramatta. Heading into oncoming traffic again there, which is
And a bus there as well. This is really frightening.
And it's a way up for the police to try and almost navigate them into an area where it becomes safe. Is it safer in these suburban streets where the speed limit is slower, but it's built up, or do you try and steer this sort of incident onto a freeway or a highway where you can block it off, but again, people are travelling at speed and this driver clearly is doing everything they can to evade police. That looks like Pol Air just in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen there. So police from the air trying to keep an eye on what's unfolding
And now we can see we're trying to just get a shot again then, but it was only about 3 or 4 minutes ago that police nearly had them cornered, and now they've just absolutely floored it again and gone out there. So it's hard for us to almost, for the choppers to keep up with what's going on here, because they're just making such ground, Davina.
Different jurisdictions as well.
Oh my goodness.
That was centimetres. Very near miss between
really
2 cars going in opposite directions. This is awful. And I tell you what, when this does come to an end eventually, there's going to be an awful lot of evidence against them with every dangerous move caught on camera.
You can see that people are coming within seconds. They don't know that this is coming. These drivers on the other side of the road are just going about their day, and they are absolutely at danger at this point in time.
Well, the only blessing we know is that this is all over radio as well, playing at the moment in Sydney, so anyone on the roads hopefully is keeping updated with the movements of this vehicle as well, just as we are.
We'll just remind people what kind of vehicle it is, a Hyundai Elantra, is that correct?
White Hyundai Elantra. Started around an hour
Queensland
ago
plates.
Bankstown. It has Queensland number plates. From what we can see, there are at least 2 people in the car, someone in the front passenger seat and, of course, the driver. How it started around an hour ago, word is of some sort of crash. And police have made several efforts to try.
Oh my God, okay, there you see they've hit a pole.
Oh, wow.
They have come
Straight
to a
into a
standstill
pole.
and now
Oh,
they're
they're getting out.
But the police are right on them.
Is that a police vehicle? Yes.
That's an unmarked
That's an
car, yeah.
unmarked,
That's an unmarked police vehicle.
vehicle.
We're obviously behind the trees
This
here.
is all unfolding behind the tree. Just bear with us a second while our
So you saw
helicopter
that
manoeuvres.
white Elantra hit that pole right in the middle of it. It made no mistake there. The police are
Airbags
on them
have
in a
gone off.
second.